Good morning and welcome to our Flexo release meeting webinar for this SuccessFactors second half release 2024. What do we have on the agenda today? We have a short intro, then we will go over to the release highlights. From there, we will end then with next steps and questions and answers. Who will be your hosts today? This will be me, Alexander Bartel, and my lovely colleague, Sandra Bürgerbauer.
Hello.
Nice to meet you. With that, let's dive directly into the release highlights. So as you know, tomorrow, from Friday to Saturday, the release will be coming to the productive system. So if you have anything that is like universally pushed and you don't want to have it in the productive system, there is some weekend work to do. Besides that, please also keep in mind that the next release is coming in the mid-April 2025 on the test environments and mid-May to the productive environments. So what do we have? We start with platform. In platform, the topic that was already starting or that was like ongoing now for some time is a common superdomain, and there we have an update due to the fact that Chrome was like was deciding to not deprecate the third-party cookies. It was put on hold, the migration efforts from SAP. This was like also announced in a blog entry on the 21st of August, and since then everything is on hold. So what is the current stage and what do you need to do? This is depending on where you are at the moment. If you're in early evaluation, so if you are just like checking what needs to be done for the migration, then you can pause your activities because everything is on hold and there will be no migration done. If you have already done your early evaluation and you want to get started, then you will not have you don't have the upgrade center job already activated. You would need to write a SAP support ticket to get the upgrade center job. These will be, however, now rejected because it's on hold. So in this regards, you will not be able to do something at the moment and will need to wait. For the ones that have already the upgrade center job, there you can go on as you want, and SAP support is SAP is providing support for that. For the ones that already completed the migration, there is no to-do for you, no action is required. And in case you already worked on that one on the migration, but there is it's stuck or there's something failed, here SAP is supporting it. So that's like for the common superdomain topic. Then with this release, also the domain validation was getting mandatory. So if you use for SuccessFactors a single center address and you don't want to use something that is different than the standard SuccessFactors center address, you will need to validate the domain. This can be started in the system itself, but you will need to involve IT because they need to add an entry in the DNS. With that, we're coming to the role-based permissions. As you know, there's like a legacy version and also the latest version. The latest version will be getting the only version with the next release. In this regard, there was quite much done this time to fill up the functionality gaps to the legacy version. This was like also bringing the troubleshooting tool, which is similar to the few user permissions that you had in the past, except that you can only show like search and view for one user, but you can also compare permissions for two different users. That's quite helpful if you want to see why sometimes something is not working for one user, but for the other it is. Besides that, there are updates directly in the latest version of the role management, of the role-based permissions, being it that the role status is now visible directly in the overview, that you get like the copy role action added in the action column, the details of the role assignment, but also that you have the option for active duration so that the assignment is only valid for a certain duration. And also that you can select the value for the data source field, then basically from a drop-down, and you don't need to type it in as it was done before, which helps in case you don't want typos in, so that's not working. Here, just a short view how this would look like. As example was the overview for the granting success. Also, something that was coming in new was the assignment history. Until now, we had like for the role when you like defined what is in the role, the history, but for the assignments there was no history, and this was like added now so that you can also check who was changing what assignment and when. Besides that one, there's also enhancements to the role-based permission page, so that you can now decide who should get access to the managed permission roles, managed permission groups. Until now, it was only possible to say, okay, I want to give permissions for the managed permission groups, or give it for managed permission roles. But now this changed insofar that you can now say you want to give few permissions, or write permissions, edit permissions for the permission groups or for the permission roles. So in this regards, it got like more granular, and you can pinpoint it more exactly what you want to give a certain user. Besides that, for the story reports, it was also added that you can now report a permission category and role description. And that was it for the platform part. With that, I hand over to my colleague Sandra.
Thanks, Alex. Yeah, let's continue with the highlights for the recruiting release. The first topic we have here on the agenda is the mapping of the job codes with multiple job roles. So now you can map a single job code to multiple job roles within the job profile builder. And this is possible where a custom field, which is still creating a unique combination of job code to job role. Yeah, for example, we can now have only one job code for, let's say, engineers. And in the background with this custom field, we can still map it to the different job profiles for a junior engineer, for a mid-year engineer, or for a senior profile, for example. Also, the access to the legacy candidate workbench can now be controlled to really push this new feature and make the legacy workbench invisible for your recruiters. You can find this in the candidate summary settings. We also got some enhancements for the redesigned applicant workbench. For example, SAP increased the performance and stability of the tool. We now get the new onboarding initiation status, which will be shown in the next slide. It's easier for the historical applicant results. And also the download capacity of documents has been increased. And this is how it looks like for the new onboarding initiation status. You can see it on the left on the workbench. We can immediately see if the onboarding status was failed or successful for that candidate. And also on the right in the candidate overview, we can now see if the onboarding was successfully initiated for that candidate. In my opinion, that's really an improvement, because before we were not able to tell from a recruiting point of view if the onboarding initiating step was successful or not. Yeah, there were also some enhancements for the authentication where the SAP Customer Data Cloud, which means the candidates now have different options how they want to register on your career site. They are able to register with their phone number, and then they will get an SMS from the system. They also can enable the multi-factor authentication for adding an additional security layer, so to say. There is also the option to do a password-less authentication, and the candidates can now sign in also with their Facebook, Google, or LinkedIn profile. But still, also the normal way, the basic authentication with email and password is, of course, still possible. Yeah, then we have summarized some additional topics for the recruiting highlights here on that slide. For the email notifications we are sending out from recruiting, they are now using also the customized single sender, which we can set them in the platform feature. We also have the new type ahead for the foundation and generic objects we're using in recruiting, so mainly position, location, and also the job location, which means we can click on select. We're getting a pop-up there then on the screen, and we can easily select multiple positions, for example, or multiple locations, for example. Yeah, and also here for the reporting capabilities, we got some enhancements for the story reports. We are now able to report on the candidate skills. We also got some new audit trails, for example, for the job requisition, for the job posting, the application, and the candidate profile. And also the job location and the short format object are now reportable within story reports for recruiting. Next chapter on our agenda is the release highlights for the onboarding module. And here we really got a lot of enhancements to the look and feel of the whole module and to the visibility and the experience for the onboardee him or herself. So we got some enhancements for the onboarding homepage cards. So, for example, the accessibility of the welcome aboard card. You know, when the managers are typing a welcome aboard message, you get this little card on your homepage. And before it was there till your onboarding is completed. So yeah, it was always visible, so to say. And now when you click on that welcome aboard card, you can read through the message one more time. And when you close it, it's gone. If the onboardee wants to reread that message again, they have to open the onboarding journey, the onboarding dashboard, and then they can select it from all the tasks from their onboarding guide. So it's not gone completely, but it's just gone from the homepage. Yeah, we also got some addition of object statuses and also an additional description to your onboarding guide card, where we can provide some additional information to our onboardees. And also the cards on the homepage, we now get the stacked up cards as well for the onboardees, which we are, for example, already used to from the to-do approvals on our homepage from Employee Central or from the notification stack we also have in Employee Central. So here it's now a bit cleaned up the experience for the onboardees, so to say. Yeah, we also get some enhancements for the onboarding dashboard. So the title has been adapted and the hire type filter has also been adapted. So we really can now filter our onboarding dashboard for the different hire types we have. So for example, if we only want to see the rehires with old employment or with new employment, we can filter the dashboard accordingly. It really helps to improve the experience for the recruiters, which has to deal with a lot of onboardees, or for HR managers, and also for managers themselves. If they really have a lot of onboardees, they can easily filter them according to the different hire types. Also, some new filters has been introduced, and we can now select or deselect filters directly on our onboarding dashboard, which makes it a bit easier to handle for the internal user. Yeah, another improvement to the onboarding dashboard is the contact icon card for hiring managers and also for onboardees. So when we have opened an onboardee on our dashboard, we got this little postcard icon next to the name. And when we click on it, then the spotlight is open and we have an immediate button where we can email the onboardee or the hiring manager. And this really improves also the usability for the recruiters, for the hiring managers, because they can easily get in contact with the people they need in regarding to that specific onboarding process. We also got some enhancements for the new hire onboarding journey, so for the onboardees themselves. We have an enhanced onboarding checklist. You can now even enable a guided tour, which is enabled by SAP Companion, who guides the onboardees through the whole onboarding journey, so to say. And which is really also one of my highlights. It is the loading indicator. And it's just a simple feature. You can spot maybe the 3 dots in the PowerPoint, just indicating that there is a next task available for the onboardee soon, but this task still needs to be prepared and needs to be loaded a bit. We all know from before this unfortunately was not possible, so the onboardee could not really see if there is another task which he or she needs to perform. And with that enhancement, the onboardee immediately knows, okay, I'm not done yet, there is something else for me to do. And I think that also increases efficiency for the onboardee themselves. Yes. And we also have now a new onboarding task, which we can assign to HR, for example. We have the review personal data collection step, which means as soon as the onboardee is done with the personal data collection step, then HR gets a new task on their homepage. They can review this personal data collection, which the onboardee just completed. And if something is still missing, if the data is not consistent, then we even can send the personal data collection step back to the onboardees and ask for additional information or ask for correction of their data. Yes. For the last release, we already got the feature that onboarding is supporting global assignment, and with this release, we now can also use onboarding for our concurrent employment processes. Which means we got a new rule that triggers the concurrent employment, so we can decide for our if condition when the onboarding process should be initiated. The only prerequisite we have there is the start date of the concurrent employment needs to be in the future, and the supervisor field for that concurrent employment needs to be filled in as well. So there needs to be a manager who can take care of all the onboarding tasks. From onboarding, we cannot modify data about the concurrent employment itself, but we can still do that from EC, and all these changes we do in EC are also reflected then in the onboarding of that user. For the user itself, it's also easy to perform the onboarding tasks. So we get the context switcher, which means the logged in user can switch to the profile of his or her new concurrent employment. And from this profile, he can or she can perform all the tasks that are there to do. Which means there are no additional login credentials, but they just can keep their normal login as they are used to. Yeah, and when we have also the update personal data fields in that onboarding journey, then also the non-effective date fields of the main contract are updated, which means when the onboardee enters a new national ID card information, for example, then also the national ID information of the main contract is updated so that the two employments are always in sync. What's currently not supported is the cancel and restarting of onboarding processes for concurrent employment, but maybe we'll get that with the next release. Let's see. What we also can do now is we can group our tasks, so we can put them not all together, that they are triggered all together, but we can define a sequence, so to say, that we have the primary mandatory tasks visible first, and when those are completed, then the secondary tasks are triggered. For this, we can easily drag and drop them around in the process environment manager. There are just some things we need to keep in mind. So for the secondary tasks, of course, they cannot be added before the personal data collection step, and they can also not be added after the final review step. So they really just fit in the middle, but yeah, I guess that's clear from a process perspective as well. We also then can combine our custom tasks, and as said, we can easily drag and drop the different steps around in our process variant manager. There were also some enhancements to the internal hire process. So the internal hire process, if it is initiated from recruiting, is now also supporting workflows and cross-entity rules and position updates as well, which means when the recruiter is changing data for one of the internal hires, then if there's already a workflow assigned in EC on the portal, then those workflows are also triggered from recruiting, and the recruiter can really see on the recruiting dashboard in which status that workflow is. Also to the offboarding process, we got some enhancements. So now finally the offboarding process is also available in the process variant manager, which means we can edit it, we can copy it, we can delete offboarding process flows and make different flows as per requirement. When we add a new process variant, then we need to select first if it's an onboarding or an offboarding process, and then the different steps are displayed. So this is also huge benefits in the usability of the offboarding flow, because before we were unfortunately not possible to change the offboarding flow for different use cases. Good, then we're already making good progress, and I'm presenting the highlights of the Employee Central release. I think that is one a lot of you recognize already, so we now get the full people profile and the latest people profile in our test environments, which means that at some point the legacy people profile and also the legacy org charts will be deleted, and SAP set that date to the 15th of November 2025. So our recommendation is for all clients who are already live with SuccessFactors that you still wait for one release to really push it to production. But we highly recommend to already start testing in your test environment so that you really can make sure that all the features you have currently are then also possible when you push to the latest people profile. At least we already get some updates for the full people profile. We now have a small little icon. I hope you can spot it with the red thing in the PowerPoint slide. So when we click on that, we jump directly to the people profile and not need to open the spotlight and then the full profile and then the people profile. So one click less in the meantime. Maybe one thing to add, and we really need your help for that one. There is an enhancement request ongoing for the latest people profile. Because the overview of the sections, like we had on before, so the top layer of sections is now vertically on the latest people profile, and this layer is not supporting role-based permissions, which means if a manager has not access to the compensation information, he still can select the section, he still can see the card, but then he got this message, oh, something went wrong. So it's not even, oh, you do not have permission, but it's unfortunately, oh, something went wrong. So we really want SAP to correct this as soon as possible. So please all use your S users and click on the link which is provided here in the PowerPoint and help us to vote for this enhancement request. Thank you very much. There's also a push now for the general display name. So the display name is defining how the names of the employees are displayed across the whole system. So please check your settings in the company system and logo settings and check if it's already enabled. If it's already enabled, then all is fine. You do not have to change anything. If it's not enabled, then you maybe see some impact in your system. So the system will use the following settings for the general display name. If you already define a name format for the legal entity, then this one is used to display the names of your employees. And if that is not present, you see the name format which is used on the people profile. And also when there is no setting in the people profile, the full name in the default language is displayed. Yeah, the planned migration for the general display name is a bit later than the actual release dates. So for the test environment, it was end of October, and for the production environment, it will be 24th of November to the 1st of December 2024. You can also check your scheduled job manager for the migrate general display name job to see if everything is already migrated for your system. Yeah, and then I hand over back to Alex for the goals and performance updates.
Thank you very much. That sounded quite exciting what you were already showing us. So let's see a bit more. What is going on in goals and performance? I think most of you will know that the latest goal management will be like getting mandatory. So this release, it was still not done, but it will be pushed with end of March in general. There are some specific cases for customers that have job description manager, but will be later than pushed in 2025. And we would advise to plan your rollout of the latest goal management already with the start of the new performance cycle and not wait to be pushed. So start your test on the preview environment if you not did that already. And if you did that already and it's working fine, then plan when you want to go over to the new version, because as you know, when you do the upgrade, you still have then all of the goal plans locked, and you need to convert them if there are some issues. It's not so good if the cycle is already ongoing and people might want to create their goals and cannot do that. So besides the latest goal management, there's also in performance the delegation functionality that came in. This is quite useful so that managers or users, not only managers, can delegate their performance review tasks to our people for a specified time period. Not only the manager can do it, or not only the user can do it, it can also administrators can do that on behalf of the users. So when the manager or when the user sends does a delegation that somebody else should take care of a review because he or she is not in the office, or the employee is working more with another manager due to a project or something like that, then you can do that. In this example that we have here on the slides, Jackie will be the manager, gives the delegation task to Paul. he receives an email notification about the delegation requests, can click on a link, goes to the delegation page. The delegation page is now in settings. So when you're like in SuccessFactors, you have like on the right upper corner, normally your icon or your picture there. If you click, you can go to settings, and in the settings part, you now have at the bottom a new menu item once delegation is activated. That's for delegations, and there on the delegation page, the users can like do delegations, but also can see what delegations are there for them. And then Paul can choose if he wants to accept or decline that. And once he accepted or declined, the checker will be, as the manager, will be notified of the decision via email. In this case, we now say that Paul accepts the delegation. So what does this mean then? You have like the task, but if it's like if the manager would not have an active role in the step that the performance form is, then nothing would be there. Just when it's like going into a status where they can do something, the delegatee, Paul, would then see the Go to Task button on the delegation page, and this then enables him to enter the form and review, as example, the forms of Jim and Sarah during this develop period. This also means that while he is doing that one, that check is the form of the employees still is in the manager's inbox, but in a read-only mode. So it's not possible then that the manager and the delegatee do that at the same time. To be aware is that the delegatee's name is not recorded in a route map or audit trail if they participate in a collaborative step with an exit user and they are not the exit user. So in this regards, this is like something where I believe this should be coming with one of the next releases to have that one also covered. But when you route the form, then it will be tracked. The audit report also currently does not contain delegation-related information, such as changes that the delegatee made to the form. And also please be aware that when you want to activate that one, first you need to go to the company settings to activate the functionality, and then you need to do some stuff in the permissions. So on one hand, you need to add the permissions to a role, or if you have like different target populations, then you would have like different roles for that one. And you also are required to create a permission role named exactly performance reviewer in brackets delegation, because that's like the necessary for the one that gets the delegation to work with. So here, like a view how this looks like regarding the overview about the delegated forms, as well as when the delegatee is like then going in the form, how this would look like. And as you see in the, well, it's small, but on the left upper corner, it says back to delegation. So normally when you're like a normal role in the route map and you open the form, you will see back to the form overview. And here it's then back to delegation. So delegation functionality will be a feature, as mentioned, that the user and also an admin could start. It was previously done with proxy. If you wanted to do somebody else is working on the PM forms, the problem was that with proxy you could not say only this specific form for that user. It should be like handed over to delegated to someone else, but you then gave them the whole part. So in this regards, with now delegation, you can be more specific what task should be going over to another person. One thing to keep in mind is that also the release was on the 14th of October already on the preview environments. The delegation functionality was just coming in there on the 21st of October, and in production, where we now have the release tomorrow, it will still take until the 13th of December until the delegation functionality is available there as well. And that was it from the performance and goals part. So let's go to learning. Yeah. Also here we have like a new version, the latest or the new learning experience, or as it's officially called, the ILX, integrated learning experience. This started already with second half release 2023. And now with this release, they basically reach the same functionality level as with the old version, with the legacy version. And with the next release, it will then be like pushed so that you need to use the new version. And there will be then in second half release 2025 still a couple of smaller functionalities that will be added for things that then look a little bit different. But besides that, it's ready to use. So start like testing that one as well, because the next release is coming fast. So from the integrated learning experience, there are some additions to the integrated learning experience this release. Last release, it was just a learning landing page basically and nothing else. But now we have optional assignments, custom pages, approvals, recommendations that you can use external links there. The browsing by category, because like in the last release, the search was like only allowing to search exactly for a specific word. It was not like having the option to browse the library as it was done as it's like possible in the old version, in the legacy version. Now we have a browse by category. That's not totally what the legacy version is like allowing, but it's like a step in the right direction. Also a new team view for the manager, as well as new administrative permissions for management of cards and banners was added in this release. For now that the integrated learning experience is universally available, the switch for the ILX cannot be deactivated anymore. Until now, you had in the backend like a checkbox where you could say, I don't want to use it. This is like gone with this release. So now the settings can be that you can either have the ILX or the legacy version as default, and having like on the learning page, on the learning landing page, a button to switch to the other version, or that you can only have the ILX, the new version, and nothing else. So the two actions that you should take before the rollout, what you want to enable, decide on the default, and if you don't decide, then ILX will be activated automatically now with this release on your system. Good. We will not go through all of the different new things that are coming in, but one that is like quite important, and it was like also giving much, or where there was quite much feedback to SuccessFactors that this is missing, was that there was no team view in the new version from the last release, but with this release it's now there. So now there's like the dashboard menu with the team view, with the list of members, detail field, the selected team members, and so on. Also drop-down menu next to the My Team if you have permissions as an alternate manager or HR VP. Alternate manager normally being the matrix manager, but that's like depending how you set it up. The team members are sorted alphabetically, normally with those who have overdue items appearing first. Otherwise, you have the more actions menu where you can manage assignments, manage enrollments, add to learning history. So basically, the most of the functionality that you have in the legacy version is there. Like the view for the curricula is still not there, but I would assume that they will also work on that with the next release. Also, approvals for learning requests are now available in the new learning experience. So they're now visible on the new learning page, which was not the case before. There you needed to go to the approval page and could not do it directly from the learning page. Also, the enhancements to administrator and peer suggestions, on one hand in the suggested for me section, so in the recommendation section basically, or recommendation was called in the past, so that learners can view and access the external links, but also when you like in an item in the library that was recommended, that you see that it was recommended to you, and when you want to have it on your learning plan, that recommendations are not shown anymore when you're in the library. The browse library feature for enhanced search, that's something that I already mentioned. So with the last release, the search was just like the box where you put search, where you could put in the word and search for it. And the browse library was missing. Now they have this browse library for the categories where pop-up is going up, is opening up, and then you can select a category, and then it's bringing you to the result page, the search result page, where you can then go further. Good. But still with new things, there can be some topics that are not working, as we know already from the past as well. So known issues that require attention. I mean, there are a bit more, but the main points are the translation issues on my team page are still there, and also that all custom cards appear on the general landing page. With that, we're done with the learning and are coming to reporting, which is like the last part that we have here. So the deprecation of legacy reports was already announced quite a while ago. There was quite an outcry last year regarding table reports and canvas reports, and based on that one, the previously announced deprecation dates that were for end of 2025 have been withdrawn by SuccessFactors. So there's no new date set until now for table reports and canvas reports. Tiles and dashboards will be deprecated with the second half release next year. So please be aware, if you want to have some graphs, some overview, then you will not have the tiles and dashboards anymore and will need to move to the story reporting. The classic reporting that it was is already now getting deprecated with this release is not on the slides anymore because that's basically done, except there are like 3 exceptions, like archive and print functionality that is still there because I would assume they don't have another functionality that would be up to that. So that was it from our release highlights. So next in QA, as next steps, there will be a general email sent to all participants of the webinar with the presentation, the link to the recording. And if there are any questions not answered today due to the time constraints, we'll send individual emails to the participants that raise the question afterwards. With that, I think it's time for Q&A.
Yes, let me quickly end the PowerPoint presentation that we can read out your questions. Yes. Katrin, do we already have a question ready for us?
Yeah.
So that's one for you, Alex. It's LMS themed. So is and when is a Blanco search foreseen in learning next to the category search option?
There's no official information regarding that one. I did not see that say, okay, that's on the roadmap for the next release. But also, as far as I remember, there was like the last release, no information that they would do this category browse option with this release. In this regard, I believe they are still aware that they have a functionality gap there and will be working on it, but there is no official information till now.
Next question is for the general display name. Is there any risk impact when running its other modules? The general display name is more or less of a platform feature, so it impacts the name, how is it displayed in your action search and also on your people profile. It should have not any big impact because a lot of you already using the name format from the people profile anyway, so you can decide if it's your first name, last name, or your first name, middle name, or last name. But other than that, there is no impact from that feature.
So that's a question for me again. So services are no more visible in the new interface. We have to switch to old interface. Are there any updates on this? Also there, I would not have any updates, but as this is a question that was like also coming up quite often for the for SuccessFactors. I will recheck the roadmap. I didn't see it there, but recheck the roadmap and also see if they give an announcement somewhere in the blog or something, if this is coming. So we will follow up on that one via email as well. Any further questions?
Some minutes still left here. If no email domain is defined, does that mean from tomorrow on there will not be any emails sent at all?
No.
No, luckily not. So the system is sending still out emails, but if there is no email defined, then we're using this common domain, which is at SuccessFactors.
No reply at SuccessFactors.com.
Thanks, Alex. noreply@successfactors.com. So this email will always be there and will be used by all email notifications sent out. So if you have some custom email domains in your email settings, which are not verified yet, the system will automatically switch back to that noreply@successfactors.com. So please check with your IT department, also check with your firewall, your securities. Of course, it can be that your firewalls are filtering out the SuccessFactors email, and then it seems like nothing is sent out, but still the system is sending the mails from their normal domain, from their standard domain, so to say.
I think I need to correct myself. I think it's systems@successfactors.com. It's for sure at successfactors.com, but
that's correct.
I don't see the whole question. It's about automated process available, learning reminder, email notification. What for? Okay, so question regarding learning, new reminding, automated process available. The thing is, until now, when you had like an approval for a manager, so when a manager got an approval and wasn't taking a look at the approval page, he or she did not really see that it was not reminded. There was no automatic reminder option like there. And that was like a topic where quite many customers were saying like, look, it would be good to have an automatic reminder. And with this release, they added this automatic process so that you can set the interval that the manager, if he or she was not giving approval for something, is reminded after X days. 7 days, 20 days, 30 days, however you want to define that, so that you say, okay, the automatic job is like scheduled to run every day, checking who has like open approvals already for quite a while, and then sending the reminder accordingly.
Thanks, Alex. I think there's one more incoming. Yes, let's wait.
So, no further question? Sorry, I just see there was like an update, not the approvals, the reminder. Did I get like the question?
Let's scroll up a bit again to check.
Okay, sorry, my apologies, Robert. I was like reading it wrong. So you're not talking about the approval reminders, but about the learning reminders. There's like one functionality that was like also coming in with this release that you can more easily remind your employees. So as a manager, you would see that if somebody is like overdue with an assignment, with an item and so on, you have that like then in different parts of the system, being it like on the start page, being it on the learning landing page, being it in the team overview, and next to it, then you have like a button for to remind them, so that when you click on it, that an email is sent out. And to send out an email, there needs to be an automatic process in the background that is like sending it out. The difference to the expiration reminder. So the expiration reminder is normally for when you have like a curriculum that you when it's before it's like expiring, that there's like a reminder for that one, while the reminder for the learning assignments that the managers now can trigger is regarding not only curricula, but they see that there is something overdue and have like an easier option to send out a reminder. Until now, it was not possible to send it out by email. It would have been then that the manager is like checking it, like chatting with the person sending it while going like an Outlook or something and writing it there. But now it's like directly possible in the system that you click on the button to remind them, to nudge them, so to say.
Yeah, thanks very much for these detailed answers, Alex. Now our webinar time has come to an end. So thanks everybody for listening, and I hope there was something in it for you and your company as well. See you at next release. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.